I appreciate everybody coming out today. You can only be a good doctor with a good community and good friends and good patients, and you've all been that to me. The second thing I want to say is that I want to give credit to my brother John. You remember he came out with me the same time I did in 1952, and his wife was a nurse also. And I guess about 5 years ago he got sick and got a brain abscess and died. But he helped me. He was assistant in surgery. He gave anesthesia before Dr. Lane really gave us good official anesthesia. And he helped me out for years until Dr. Lane came, and Dr. Wright and Dr. Knight. So I just want to thank you all, everybody coming out. You've all been good to me, and you can't have a good hospital or be a good doctor without good patients. You've all been good patients to me. The same thing I want to do is give my brother John credit, because he came and we lived here and died here.
And I wonder who's going to fill his shoes. Who's going to fill his shoes? Who's going to stand that tall? Who's going to run the clinics and the hospital? Run it all. Who's going to give their heart and soul, lead those like me and you? And I wonder who's going to fill his shoes. God bless the boy from Philly, house calls and midnight rounds for years. And now too soon, much too soon, he leaves us all in tears. He sewed up a community and birthed babies too, for countless generations, starting in 1952. You know the heart of Izard County still beats in his veins. You can tell it in his walk, and when he whistles those sweet refrains. Who's going to run the clinics and the hospital? Run it all. Who's going to give their heart and soul, lead those like me and you? And I wonder who's going to fill his shoes.
It's been a real pleasure to work here and to serve the community and the hospital that he helped establish, and meet some of the great people that have been a part of this community for so long. It's been neat. I've only been here about 4.5 years, but looking at the history of the hospital, it started, when this building right here to my right, the little white house, as it's affectionately referred to, and over the decades it's grown into the great facility that you see on the hill there, and services and number of people that it serves, all of which has been made possible through Dr. Grasse and the other physicians and family that have come in to help build this medical practice here in this wonderful community.
I remember the first time I ever saw Calico Rock. It was in the summer of 1952. We crossed the ferry down here, and I remember that ferry ride. I was just a youngster. It's interesting that was the summer that Dr. Grasse came to Calico Rock. The next time I saw Calico Rock was on a Sunday, about like today, a hot Sunday afternoon in June of 1968. I came to work up here for 6 weeks with Dr. Grasse. Sharon and Beth and I drove in. Beth was just short of a year old. We drove into town and met Dr. Grasse for the first time. I pretty well had my future planned. I knew pretty much what I was going to do, and it didn't include Calico Rock at all. I spent the summer working in the clinic and the hospital with Dr. Grasse. Then I returned to Little Rock. The place was a lot smaller in 1968 than it is today. But I returned to Little Rock for a couple of years, and I would return on occasion on weekends to work the clinic for him and give him some time off. He was here by himself at that time. I don't know whether you know how much of a chore it is to be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But as I said, my plans were made. It's funny, sometimes your plans get changed. God has a way of putting roadblocks in your way to put you perhaps where He wants you. So I was working up here one weekend in the winter of 1969, and I told Dr. Grasse I didn't know what I was going to do. He invited me to participate in the medical care of Calico Rock. So we agreed to come for a year until I could figure out what I was going to do. 41 years later, I'm still here. Over the years, Dr. Grasse and I have had quite a time. Some of you remember perhaps when he opened the hospital here in 1959. One story that I do know about him, he graciously offered to type everyone's blood that came to the open house. Wasn't that nice? What you don't know is that he put everybody's name and blood type on a little card along with their phone number, and when he needed blood, he got on the phone and drafted people. We nicknamed him the Silver Fox, and that's not without good reason. I'm not sure that people really fully realize what a blessing Dr. Grasse has been to this community and what he's meant to this community. When I go away to medical conventions, sometimes at the national level, I meet folks and they ask me about Calico Rock, and when I tell them it's a town of less than 1,000, they're surprised that there's a physician in the town this size. And when I tell them, well, in fact, we have 4 doctors and a hospital, they're quite shocked. You just don't find hospitals in towns of this size normally. And it's because of Dr. Grasse that it's here. This has been his dream, and he's dedicated his life into bringing this facility and medical care to this community.
Hi, good afternoon. My journey to Calico Rock started February the 5th on 2008. February 5th, 2008, an F4 tornado hit Mountain View and took out Stone County Medical Center. It hit a large part of Mountain View, and then it traveled on up to Ash Flat and those areas, and immediately I think my husband decided, I've got to make sure my patients are taken care of. And so a few days later, he and his partner came up to Calico Rock and decided, well, we're going to make sure we have privileges here at this hospital. And Calico Rock and Dr. Grasse and the doctors and the physicians here opened their arms, opened their doors to the people of Mountain View and helped take care of those patients for my husband and his partner in their practice. I want to read to you a Senate citation that I have made for you, Dr. Grasse, and also I passed a resolution, Senate Resolution 38, to honor the distinguished career and achievements of Dr. Anthony Merrill Grasse upon his retirement. This resolution we voted on during session on March the 29th, and I will tell you, you were not there because this was supposed to be a surprise for you, but your lady pirates from Calico Rock were there because there you go ahead, cheer. The Lady Pirates had won state championship, and so we brought them down and honored them in the Senate that day. And so the day that I passed their resolution honoring their achievement in basketball, we also passed your resolution honoring your lifetime achievement, and they cheered for you while you weren't there. So today I'm able to present you the resolution we passed that day with the help of those Lady Pirates and the Senate citation, which I will read to you. Whereas Dr. Anthony Merrill Grasse will be honored at a retirement celebration to be held at Izard County's Community Medical Center on June 5th, 2011, in recognition of a distinguished medical career that has spanned almost 6 decades. And whereas Dr. Grasse, a young family physician from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and his bride of 1 month, came to Calico Rock in 1952 to establish his first medical practice, saw patients out of his home until 1959, when he opened the first hospital in the city, and operated it until 1999, when he and the shareholders donated it to the community as a nonprofit organization and changed its name to Community Medical Center of Izard County. And whereas Dr. Grasse has been an involved community member, holding leadership positions in numerous city, county, and health-related organizations, and has received a number of prestigious awards in recognition of his service. And whereas the members of the Arkansas Senate wish to join Senator Missy Irvin in commending Dr. Anthony Merle Grasse on his long and exemplary service to Calico Rock and Izard County, and in wishing for him all good things in his upcoming retirement years. Now, therefore, pursuant to the motion of Senator Missy Irvin, the Arkansas Senate directs that this citation be presented on this 5th day of June, 2011.
But on that particular day, we were just shooting the breeze when the front screen door of the drugstore opened, and the representative of the Massengill Drug Company, Daniel Boone Moore, Jr., he came bouncing into the store, and after a few pleasantries, he told us that he had just come from the office of the new doctor who had just opened a practice up in what we call the Mixon House. The Mixon House was a large frame house up just go out the back door of the drugstore and a few steps, and there you were. So I thought maybe I should make a professional call to this new doctor and introduce myself. So I did, and we had he wasn't very busy at that time. We had a very cordial visit, and I learned that Dr. Grasse was recently married, and his wife and his brother John and sister-in-law Mary Margaret were going to join him there in their medical practice. That he was from Pennsylvania, of the Mennonite faith, and he would be spending part of his time at the clinic over in the Culp area across the river. And so I've always considered myself to be a very fortunate man, to have had the opportunity to have resided in the community that we have here, to spend my life in business here. I have worked also as the hospital pharmacist for a long number of years, but just to be associated with a man of the caliber of Dr. Merle Grasse. I served with Dr. Grasse for many years on the board of directors at the hospital, but it was nice seeing Senator Irvin here this morning, because it reminded me that Dr. Grasse was also a politician. You may or may not know that he was elected to public office. Yes, he was elected and re-elected. He and I both served on the city government for many years. That was a fun time too, wasn't it, Dr. Grasse? No. But nevertheless, it has been a real opportunity to have known this and been associated with the man, and doctor, and it's been, well, it's good. It's a good day in Calico Rock that all of us here today have been able to have known this great couple sitting right down here in the rocking chairs, and have been a part of this community. Well, I could ramble on here, and that's what I usually do, but I'm going to hush. But I just wanted to say it is a good day, and I thank you very much.